You think paper effigies are just offerings for the dead? Then why is the blood dripping from the bridal sedan chair soaking through the golden-threaded mandarin ducks? When the paper groom turns his face in the moonlight, your daughter's features smile at you from beneath that pale paper skin. The paper effigies you made have taken away a living bride. Only when the Swona horns wail in the graveyard do you see that the flames inside the lanterns are ghostly green. The liquid, dripping from beneath the bride's veil, seeps through the mandarin ducks you painted with your own hand on the sedan curtain. And when the groom's paper face turns under the moonlight, those features are identical to your daughter's, the one who died too young. The dull thud of the cleaver chopping on willow strips is the most familiar drumbeat in your life. Bamboo slats fly between your fingers. Pale cotton paper covers them, and the sour stench of paste drills into your nose. The signboard of Paper Zhang's shop sways under the eaves, its shadow stretched long by the oil lamp, like the tongue of a hanged ghost. You rub your frost-bitten fingers, your breath instantly swallowed by the freezing night. Your daughter Nanan coughs again in the back room, each heart-wrenching sound slicing through your chest. The medicine pot has been empty for 3 days. When the pawnshop owner spotted the last silver hairpin in your arms, his nostrils nearly tilted skyward. "Master Zhang?" A voice suddenly rasped out, hoarse like sandpaper scraping across a coffin lid. You jerked your head around. A gaunt old man stood in the doorway, though you hadn't noticed when he'd appeared. Tall, skinny, wrapped in an old silk robe whose original color is impossible to tell. His face is hidden in the shadow of a hood, only a sharp, deathly pale chin showing. The chill doesn't seem to come from him, but as if he himself has just been pulled out of an ice cellar, freezing the air around him. "I need a set of things," he said bluntly. A hand like a dry branch stretched from his sleeve, holding a perfectly folded piece of red paper, as bright as freshly clotted blood. "Dowry. I want the finest craft. Complete to the last detail, 32 sedan lifts, not one less. You take the red paper and unfold it. Written on it are rows of items, a painted and gilded canopy bed, a mother-of-pearl inlaid dressing table, 8 pairs of lifelike child attendants, a full set of golden Nanmu furniture. On the last line, in ink so dark it's almost black, bride and groom effigies. The eyes must be dotted to give them spirit, both form and soul complete." Your throat goes dry. For the full set, the materials, the time, the price. The old man silently steps closer, his shadow swallowing you. A heavy burlap sack is shoved into your arms, icy to the touch. You instinctively weigh it, silver dollars, at least 50 of them. Enough to buy medicine for half a year, and even a few yards of thick cotton to make Nanan a new coat. 3 days later, at midnight, the old man's voice scrapes against your eardrum, carrying a whiff of damp earth. "The west side mass grave, under the old locust tree. Miss the hour." He doesn't finish, but the hair on the back of your neck stands up, and a chill shoots straight into your skull. When you look up again, only the swirling cold wind remains in the doorway, along with a faint, rotten smell of decayed wood and wet soil. The icy edges of the silver coins dig into your palm. Nanan's coughing returns, and you clench the bag so tight your knuckles go white. For the next 3 days, Paper Zhang's shop becomes a slaughterhouse of paper and glue. Pale cotton sheets pile up like little hills, vermilion cinnabar stains your fingernails, bamboo frames form the skeletons, paper wraps into flesh, and gold and silver foil paints the ornate attire. 8 pairs of child attendants, their round pink faces and dark, empty eyes staring at you. 32 sedan lifts of dowry. From the carved railing of the canopy bed to the tiny jade hairpins inside the dressing box, each crafted to perfection. The hardest part is the pair of bride and groom effigies. For the groom, use the hardest green bamboo for the bones, layering it with 3 sheets of tough cotton paper. His robe is embroidered with gold-threaded dragons, his waist cinched with a jade belt, his face handsome with sharp brows and starry eyes, yet no matter how you adjust it, the gaze remains clouded with an unshakable gloom. The bride effigy takes even more care. Her figure is graceful, dressed in phoenix crown and scarlet robe, her head covered by a golden-threaded red veil, leaving only a sliver of an exquisitely painted chin visible. As your fingers shape that curve, for the first time in your life of paper crafting, you feel the lines under your fingertips come alive with a fragile beauty that's almost breathtaking. In the cinnabar used for dotting the I's, you unknowingly mix a drop of your fingertip blood. This is the spirit guide, a secret in paper crafting said to bring a hint of life to effigies, making them eerily real. The blood bead seeps into the cinnabar and dots the hollow eyes of the paper bride. In that instant, her lowered lashes seem to quiver ever so slightly. Your heart skips. You shake your head violently, blaming it on 3 days of sleepless work. On the 3rd night, with the wind howling like a beast, you push a heavy cart loaded with the 32 pieces of dowry, its wheels screeching over the dead, silent streets toward the west side mass grave. Wherever the wheels pass, 2 faint, wet trails remain, like silent tears dripping. The mass grave looms ahead. The moonlight is gnawed to shreds by thick clouds, letting through only a few pale rays, barely illuminating the tilted tombstones and withered weeds. The crooked old locust tree stands like a giant with claws and fangs, casting an impenetrable shadow. Under the tree, no one. The midnight bell tolls from afar, echoing hollowly 3 times. A chill climbs your spine. You pull your ragged coat tighter, wondering if you've been played. Suddenly, the wind stirs. Whirling gusts sweep up dead leaves and paper money, wailing like ghosts. On the cart, the silent paper, men and horses, the boxes and furniture all tremble unnaturally in the wind. The gilded sedan curtain is lifted by a gust, revealing the bride effigy sitting inside, the red veil swaying slightly. Just then, from the depths of the old locust tree's shadow, 2 eerie green lights drift out. Then 4, then 8, until countless green points appear, like ghostly eyes snapping open in a graveyard on a summer night. The green lights sway closer. It's a row of white paper lanterns. The pale lantern shades are pasted with crooked, double happiness characters, and inside them flicker flames as green as ghost fire. Those carrying the lanterns step out of the shadows, 16 of them dressed in brand new but stiff silk clothes, their faces coated with thick white powder, with 2 garish red patches on their cheeks. They are expressionless, their eyes empty, their movements stiff. Their joints creak faintly, like puppets long without oil. They are paper men, the 8 pairs of child attendants you made. Now, they've come alive, holding ghostly green lanterns, silently forming 2 lines. In the green light, a tall, thin figure emerges silently under the thickest branch of the locust tree. It is the old man from that night, still wrapped in his old robe, hood pulled low. He doesn't look at you, but tilts his skeletal chin slightly toward the lineup of paper figures. At his silent command, the child effigies turn toward the cart, their red painted fingers reaching out stiffly to lift the heavy paper dowry. The gilded canopy bed and Nanmu chests are as light as feathers in their hands. Their movements are perfectly synchronized, with an inhuman precision and dead silence, No chatter, no breath, only the rustle of paper and the faint crackle of green fire in the lanterns. Your blood turns cold, and your teeth chatter uncontrollably. You want to run, but your legs are nailed to the frozen earth. Soon, all 32 pieces of dowry are gone, and last of all, they lift the scarlet sedan chair embroidered with gold phoenixes. 4 particularly tall and strong palanquin bearers. You recognize them as the ones you worked hardest on. Step forward, bending stiffly to lift the poles. A paper hand with painted nails lifts the curtain, and the bride effigy is gently helped inside by 2 paper maidens. The curtain falls, hiding everything. The old man finally turns to you. From under the hood, you feel 2 icy eyes fall on you. The eyes are dotted, spirit-given. His hoarse voice drifts through the wind. Good craft. His hand, like a withered branch, stretches from his sleeve again, this time pinching a thin, dark brown, curled-edge fragment that looks like some kind of plant leaf, reeking with a nauseating stench of rot. The stench hits your nose, making your stomach churn. Boil it for your daughter. The old man flicks the leaf at your feet. It lands on the cold earth like a dried scab of blood. Without another word, he turns and slips back into the locust tree's shadow, vanishing. Ooh, ah. A piercing, inhuman Swona blast tears through the stillness. Not the joyful 100 birds greeting the phoenix, but weeping to the heavens, played only at funerals. The tune skews wildly, filled with bone-scraping malice and grief. As the Swona sounds, the entire bridal procession jolts to life. The paper attendants with green lanterns lurch forward. The sedan-bearer's shoulders lift, the palanquin rises. No shouts, no footsteps, only the creak of paper joints, the crackling of green fire, and that death-summoning, off-key funeral Swona. The ghostly, silent yet deafening procession drifts swiftly into the deepest part of the graveyard, where even moonlight cannot reach. You are frozen in place, your soul scattered. That deathly Swona feels like steel needles stabbing into your skull. Cold, bone-deep cold. Colder than any winter wind, the chill rises from the ground, winding around your legs, drilling straight into your bones. You try to run, but your feet feel stuck in icy mud, unable to move. At that moment, a thick, cold liquid with a heavy metallic stench drips 1 drop, 2 drops, seeping from beneath the lowered curtain of the sedan chair, falling onto the grass-covered ground. The dark red color, under the glow of the ghostly green lanterns, is horrifying. It quickly pools into a small puddle, soaking the bottom of the curtain on which you had painstakingly painted, with gold dust, a pair of mandarin ducks symbolizing eternal love. The golden threaded ducks twist and warp in the red stain, as if crying out in agony. What makes your scalp tingle even more is the paper groom sitting on the horse. His handsome yet shadowed paper face, which had been turned sideways, now begins to rotate ever so slowly and stiffly toward you under the pale moonlight and eerie green flames. Creak, creak, the sound of paper neck joints grinding against each other makes your teeth ache. His face turns inch by inch, first the hard profile, then the straight nose, and finally, those eyes dotted with cinnabar mixed with your own blood meet your terrified gaze. Buzz, your mind goes blank. Those brows, that outline, the slightly drooping corners of his eyes. It looks too much like her. Exactly like your bedridden daughter, Nanan. Only, Nanan's eyes are clear and weak from illness, while this paper groom's gaze is lifeless, sinister, like 2 bottomless cold ponds ready to drag your soul in. Ah! Ah! A stifled cry bursts from your throat. Your heart feels like a cold hand is squeezing it hard. almost stopping its beat. Terror, like ice water, pours down on you, shattering your last shred of sanity. Run. Instinct to survive finally overcomes paralysis. You spin around, bursting with a strength you've never known, scrambling like a rabbit chased by demons, crawling and stumbling madly in the direction you came from. The cart? To hell with the cart. The silver coins? To hell with them. Behind you, the deathly wail of the Swona, the creaking joints of paper figures, and the crackling ghostly green flames follow like maggots clinging to bone. You dare not look back. You'd rather die than look back. You only curse that you weren't born with 4 legs. At last, the outline of the broken city gate emerges in the darkness. You crash through the half-open gate like a cannonball, charge into the dead silent streets, and finally slam into your own rickety wooden door. You slide to the ground with your back against it, your heart pounding like a drum, your whole body trembling like a leaf in the autumn wind, cold sweat soaking your inner clothes. "Dad," Nanan's weak, frightened voice comes from the inner room. "What's that sound outside? It's scary." "No, it's nothing." You pant heavily, your voice hoarse, almost unrecognizable. "The wind! It knocked things over!" You wipe the cold sweat and tears from your face and struggle to get up. You can't let the child be scared. You grope for the table, light the oil lamp with trembling hands, and its dim yellow glow barely pushes back a corner of the darkness. Then you remember the thing in your arms, the dark, brown leaf the old man gave you reeking of rot. You take it out and hold it under the oil lamp. It's no leaf. The edges are scorched and curled, the texture hard and leathery, like some kind of burnt hide, or like a piece of dried, dark brown meat. It's covered with twisted, unnatural patterns. When you bring it closer, that stench of decayed wood mixed with damp earth grows stronger, making you gag. Boil this for Nanan? You stare at this ominous thing in your hand, your stomach churning. Could this really heal her? Was that old man human or ghost? And that eerie bridal procession, what exactly did it carry away? "Dad, I'm cold, so cold." Nanan's voice comes from the room, tinged with sobs. Her coughing grows harsher. The sound cuts into your heart like a blade. Looking at her pale, pained little face, then at the foul medicine in your hand, your eyes flicker with turmoil. In the end, fatherly love crushes fear and doubt. Nanan's life matters more than anything. You grit your teeth and toss the sinister thing into the medicine pot, add clean water, and set it on the stove. Flames lick at the pot's bottom. As the water heats, a nauseating stench spreads like countless rotting roots mixed with blood steaming in the tiny room, making you dizzy and almost retch. You endure it, staring at the pot where the liquid darkens into a murky, black-brown brew. After about 15 minutes of boiling, the stench fades slightly, replaced by a strange, sweetish scent with a charred, earthy undertone. You strain out the black-brown liquid, leaving some fine, black grit at the bottom of the bowl. Holding the bowl of sweet and foul-smelling medicine, your hands shake violently. Nanan stares at the inky stuff with fear, instinctively recoiling. "Be good, Nanan," you say, your heart twisting with pain, but your voice is unnaturally gentle and firm, coaxing. "Drink it. The cough will stop. You won't feel cold anymore. You'll get better." You almost force it down her throat, making her drink the indescribably foul concoction. Nanan coughs violently, her little face turning crimson. You hold her tightly, heart pounding, fear and hope tangled like wildfire. Time crawls by as you stare at her frail body, unblinking. You don't know how long it takes, But suddenly, you realize the thin layer of cold sweat on her fevered forehead has stopped. Her labored, wheezing breath has eased. The abnormal flush on her cheeks fades. She's still pale, but that dull, deathly look between her brows seems lighter, just a bit. "Dad." Nanan curls into your arms, her voice still weak, but that tearing pain seems to have eased. It doesn't hurt as much. She even opens her eyes slightly, and in those once dim eyes, a faint glimmer of life returns. It worked. That cursed thing worked. Joy crashes over you like a tidal wave. All the fear, exhaustion, and despair of the past days, suddenly they feel worth it. You clutch your daughter tightly, tears spilling out. Ghostly weddings, paper effigies, none of it matters. If it saves Nanan, you'd trade with the king of hell himself. Nanan drifts into deep sleep, her breathing much steadier now. You sit by her bed, your tense nerves finally loosening. Your gaze drifts unconsciously to the colorful threads scattered beside her pillow, and your pupils shrink. One strand, bright red, glares like fresh blood. That color, that texture, it's the same vermilion thread you use beneath the gold embroidery of the paper bride's wedding gown. That kind of dyed silk thread is only sold at Rui Fuxiang on the east side of town, and it's expensive. You only used it for that dowry set. Nanan's been too sick to leave the house. Where did she get it? A cold dread shoots up your spine. You rush to the outer room and dig through the basket of leftover paper scraps, frantically searching. Nothing. The spool of vermilion thread for the bride's dress is down to a tiny stub. And the thread by Nanan's pillow, its length, color, and thickness match perfectly. Cold sweat soaks your back in an instant. Did Nanan touch that paper bride? When? How? The other night before delivery, you locked everything in the shop's back storeroom. You suddenly recall the twitch of the paper bride's lashes when you dotted her eyes, and Nanan's recent habit of scratching her arm unconsciously. You rush back to her bed, trembling, carefully rolling up her thin sleeve. In the dim oil light, you see it clearly on the inside of her pale, skinny arm. Near the armpit are several faint red marks. Not scratch marks, more like the impression of something extremely fine and tough, like silk thread, binding her skin. The marks are faint, slightly raised, like tiny sleeping red worms. You feel as if struck by lightning. A cold, crushing fear grips your heart. That paper bride, did it come back? Did it touch Nanan? That strange medicine, her sudden recovery. What's the connection between it all? You spend a sleepless night by her side, eyes bloodshot. The next day, Nanan seems even better, even managing to sit up and drink half a bowl of thin porridge. There's even a faint, almost unhealthy flush on her pale cheeks. She holds your hand and whispers, "Dad, I dreamed of a pretty sister in a red dress. She smelled so nice. So cold she touched my face and said she wanted to take me with her. Her words make your whole body freeze, as if you've fallen into an ice pit. A red dress, a pretty sister, cold touch. And she wants to take her away?" "What did that sister look like?" you ask, forcing down your fear, your voice dry. Nanan frowns slightly, trying to recall. "I couldn't see her face. It was covered with red cloth. But her hands were so white, and her nails were red." She points to her own fingernails. Like they were stained with blood. Nail polish. The paper bride's blood-red nails. You can't sit still any longer. That cursed thing is tangled up with Nanan. That eerie recovery is nothing but a death omen. No! You have to find a way. Find that old man from that night. Find that ghostly wedding procession. For Nanan, you'd storm through hell itself. After settling Nanan, You dash out of the house like a madman, heading straight for the mass grave to the west, under the old locust tree. In daylight, the graveyard is still lifeless, but without the night's chilling aura. Guided by memory, you trudge through the uneven ground until you find that crooked old locust tree. Beneath it, nothing, just dry grass and scattered stones. Last night's eerie bridal procession feels like nothing more than a nightmare. Refusing to give up, you search around the locust tree carefully. The bark is rough, etched with deep grooves. Your fingers probe along a deep crevice in the bark and suddenly touch something cold and hard. You dig it out with force. It's a small jade ring, its edges worn smooth. The jade is cloudy, stained with earth, and its style is ancient, not something owned by ordinary folk. On the inner side of the ring, there seem to be tiny, almost worn-away characters. You hold it close to your eyes, squinting, and barely make out. Chen Shiwan. Chen Wan, a name. Whose name? What does it have to do with that old man and with that paper bride? A clue! The only clue! You grip the icy jade ring tightly, as if clutching your only lifeline. You must ask someone. Stumbling, you rush back to town, grabbing an old watchman with graying beard sunning himself by the city wall. He's lived here his whole life. Chen Wan? The old man narrows his cloudy eyes, digging through old memories. That name does sound familiar. He scratches his white hair, then suddenly slaps his thigh. Got it! The Chen family. That big family on the west side. They've been gone for years, wiped out. The Chen family? You press urgently. How did they die out? Ah, what a tragedy. The old watchman sighs, lowering his voice as if speaking of a taboo past. Must have been 40 years ago now. The Chen family's eldest daughter, I think her name was Chen Wan. She was a real beauty, but she was cursed with bad luck. Before she could even marry, she caught a sudden illness and died. Dead. Your heart sinks. Dead. The old man nods firmly. Master Chen had only that one precious daughter, and he was heartbroken. The funeral was grand. Her body lay in the house for 49 days. They invited countless monks and Taoist priests to chant and bless her soul. But here's the strange part. He glances around, lowering his voice further, a flicker of fear in his eyes. On the day of the burial, something terrible happened. What happened? Your throat tightens. The coffin pole broke. The old man's eyes fill with dread. It was right near the western mass grave. The coffin hit the ground, and the lid cracked open. People swore they saw what flowed out wasn't corpse fluid. It was fresh, red blood. Blood? You gasp, recalling the dark red liquid dripping from the bridal sedan that night. That's right. The old man rubs his arms, as if warding off a chill. Even stranger, Miss Chen's body vanished. The coffin was empty. All that was left was the bright red bridal gown she was dressed in. Isn't that strange? She never even married, yet they buried her in a bride's wedding dress. A bridal gown, an empty coffin, blood seeping from a coffin crack, a missing corpse, a mass grave. All the scattered clues crash together in your mind, forming a terrifying, absurd guess that coils around your heart like a venomous snake, suffocating you. That paper bride, that cursed bridal procession, that old man in the tattered silk robe, that foul-smelling medicine, the vermilion thread by Nanan's pillow, the marks on her arm, the sister in red from her dream. Could the paper bride shell be holding the corpse of Chen Wan? The woman who vanished 40 years ago, now full of vengeful rage. Who is that old man to the Chen family? Her father, the butler. He spent so much silver, commissioning such a lavish, ghostly dowry, even demanding the effigies' eyes be dotted to grant them spirit. Was it all to complete a ghost marriage that's been delayed for 40 years? And Nanan, her sudden recovery, that eerie medicine, was it made from? You can't hold it anymore. You stumble to the wall and vomit violently. Your stomach is empty. Only bitter bile comes out. Fear, anger, and regret burn your insides like poison fire. You must get back. Now. At once. Nanan is in danger. You scramble home, crashing through the door that's left ajar. Nanan! The bed in the inner room is empty. Only a tangle of messy bedding. Nanan! Your eyes nearly burst from their sockets. Your scream rips your throat, spraying blood-tinged spit. Despair, cold and suffocating, drowns you in an instant. Then, from the corner of your eye, you spot a pale, roughly cut paper figure on the windowsill, pinned down by a small stone. On its face, two crude black dots, drawn in cinnabar, stare hollowly at you like eyes. Beside the paper figure lie a few strands of vermilion thread. It's that paper bride. It took Nanan. Where? The mass grave, the old locust tree. The destination of that ghostly bridal procession. Grabbing the firewood axe by the door, you charge out again, like a wild beast cornered, eyes bloodshot, rushing toward the graveyard that swallowed your daughter. The night is like ink, darker than last night. Deep within the mass grave, under the old locust tree, the scene is even more terrifying. The ghostly green lanterns are multiplied, floating densely among the graves, bathing this land of death in a ghastly green glow. The paper bridal procession is still there, but now they form a huge, rigid circle, like lifeless guards. In the center, under the locust tree, stands the gilded canopy bed you crafted. On the bed, covered with a red quilt embroidered with dragons and phoenixes, lies your daughter Nanan. She's dressed in an ancient-style scarlet bridal gown, far too large for her frail body. Gold-threaded phoenixes cover the fabric, and the sleeves and collar are trimmed with dim pearls. The heavy gown presses down on her small, thin frame, making her face look even paler, like paper. Her eyes are tightly shut, long lashes casting heavy shadows over her cheeks. She looks asleep or unconscious. The old man in the tattered silk robe stands with his back to you at the bedside. In his withered hands is the paper groom you made. But now, under the light of countless ghostly green lanterns, the groom's face no longer resembles Nanan's features. It has turned into a completely unfamiliar young man's face, full of sinister intent. The old man mutters under his breath, his voice hoarse and serpentine. One hand holds the paper groom. The other slowly reaches toward Nanan's chest. Stop! Your eyes nearly burst with rage, all your fear igniting into a storm of fury. You slam into the stiff circle of paper figures like a cannonball. They topple like mere props. Raising your axe high, you bring it down with all your strength on the old man's back. Wretch, you dare ruin my great work. The old man whirls around. His hood is blown back. At last, you see his face, or what can't even be called a face. His skin is gray, mottled with dark corpse spots. His eye sockets are hollow, filled only with two flickering green flames. His lips are shriveled and retracted, exposing jagged white teeth. This is clearly a corpse long dead, a zombie. His withered claw snaps up like lightning, meeting the axe head-on without flinching. Clang! A deafening metallic crash explodes. Sparks fly. Your grip splits open, blood gushing. It's like your axe hit thousand-year-old iron. The shocking recoil numbs your arms, nearly knocking the weapon from your hands. But his hand is unscathed. Only his tattered silk robe is sliced open, revealing that his arm isn't flesh at all, but twisted like ancient tree roots, covered with thick, black-green moss and packed with earth. Wood corpse. A terrifying legend whispered among old paper craftsmen erupts in your mind. A corpse sealed within cursed wood in a place of extreme yin over decades. The body doesn't rot but fuses with the wood, becoming a half-corpse, half-wood abomination. Immensely strong, impervious to blades. 40 years, 40 long years. The wood corpse, once an elder of the Chen family, lets out a shrill, hateful roar, the two ghostly green flames in his sockets fixed on you. Warner's resentment has finally become corpse fury. Just one last step. Only this pure yin maiden's soul as the key, and she will marry my son. The evil turned to spirit. The soul reunited. You dare stand in my way. His son, he means, is the paper groom now bearing the face of that unknown young man. And the pure yin maiden is your Nanan. He wants to rip out Nanan's soul and put it into that effigy, completing the evil ghost marriage. The wood corpse's other claw, whistling through the air, lunges straight at your heart. It's too fast to dodge. At that split second, rip! A harsh tearing sound shatters the air. It comes from the gilded canopy bed. Nanan, still unconscious, lies there as the ancient scarlet bridal gown on her chest suddenly splits wide open, the gold thread embroidery tearing on its own. As if ripped by invisible claws, beneath the gash isn't her thin underclothes but a horrifying sight. Countless hair, thin threads, glowing faintly red, surge out of the tear like living creatures. They move like living red vipers, some swiftly coiling around the wooden corpse's outstretched arm aimed at you. The tough vermilion threads bite deep into the moss and dirt-covered wood with a grating creak, locking it in place. Another wave of threads surges, like a crimson tide, toward the paper groom in the wooden corpse's other hand. The one with the sinister face. No! The wooden corpse shrieks in sheer terror. He struggles to tear free from the threads on his arm, trying to shield the effigy in his hand. Too late. The glowing crimson threads swarm over the paper groom like blood-scenting leeches, wrapping it layer after layer. The red light pulses rapidly along the threads as the effigy convulses violently, emitting a sharp, paper-tearing wail. With a faint pop, the paper groom, cocooned entirely in red threads, ignites like paper in a flame and disintegrates into a small heap of pale ash before your eyes, scattering under the ghostly green light. My son! The wooden corpse lets out a heart-piercing howl, not even human. The ghostly green flames in his eye sockets flare wildly, brimming with unimaginable despair and fury. 40 years of painstaking effort, using his daughter's body to forge a corpse fiend, capturing his son's early dead soul to house within the effigy ruined in an instant by these mysterious crimson threads. It's you. The wedding dress you made. The wooden corpse swirls toward the unconscious Nanan, or rather, toward the ancient red bridal gown you stitched with countless gold threads and lined with vermilion silk. From the rip in the gown, those threads spill forth, the very threads you used. The drop of blood you mixed when dotting, the eyes must have awakened them. You've ruined everything. I'll tear your souls apart. The wooden corpse goes mad. A dense black miasma bursts from his body, his wooden arms swelling as the red threads snap apart. Abandoning you, he lunges like a raging demon, his clawed hand aiming straight for Nanan's head to shred her and the cursed bridal gown together. Nanan! Your soul feels like it's being ripped out. You hurl yourself over her, shielding her with your body. You raise the axe once more. Even knowing it's useless, you'll fight to the death. Just as his claw is about to pierce your back and your axe is about to strike his skull, a sudden change explodes. The crimson bridal gown covering Nanan billows without wind. It inflates suddenly, as if breathing. Every phoenix embroidered in gold thread blazes with dazzling light under the ghostly green glow. Scree! A piercing, majestic, mournful cry of a phoenix reverberates through the graveyard. It drowns the wind, the wailing spirits, the corpses roar. Golden light surges, sweeping away the eerie green fire. The swelling gown transforms into a giant phoenix of golden flame. Its shadowy wings spread wide, shielding you and Nanan beneath them. The wooden corpse's claw strikes the golden phoenix. Sizzle! Like red-hot iron plunging into ice water. Acrid smoke billows as rotting wood burns, and the stench of charred flesh fills the air. The wooden corpse shrieks in twisted agony, its claw scorched black, white smoke rising. It's as if struck by an invisible hammer. The decayed body is flung violently back, smashing into the huge old locust tree. Crash! The tree shakes violently, dead branches and leaves raining down. The wooden corpse is embedded in the trunk, the black miasma burning and hissing under the phoenix's light, dissipating fast. He writhes, growling with resentment and rage, but his body melts away under the golden glow like snow under a blazing sun. The dirt and moss fall away, revealing blackened, rotting wood and shattered, charred bones. The two ghostly green flames flicker madly. Then, with a sigh heavy with 40 years of hatred, they pop out of existence. Crackle the decayed wood, and broken bones collapse, crumbling into lifeless ash. Only the old silk robe remains, limp over the pile. The golden light fades, the phoenix shadow dissolves, and the bridal gown on Nanan's body shrinks back to normal except for the jagged tear at the chest. The glowing threads wither, fading to dust, vanishing as if their mission is done. Silence falls again. Only the ghostly lanterns float dimly in the air, their glow much weaker now. The circle of paper men, horses, and child effigies collapses like puppets with cut strings, scattering into heaps of bamboo, paper, and painted scraps. Alive! You survived! Every muscle gives out as you slump by the bed, gasping, drenched in cold sweat. Looking at Nanan, still unconscious but breathing steadily, a surge of relief and dread nearly knocks you out. You reach out, trembling, and gently remove the cursed gown. Underneath, she wears only her thin underclothes, safe and untouched. You hold her tiny, warm body tight, feeling her faint heartbeat, tears streaming silently. Your gaze drifts to the broken remains of the paper bride. The ornate phoenix crown is shattered, the red veil reduced to a corner revealing part of a delicately painted face. The eyes, once dotted with your blood, now stare hollowly at the filthy graveyard sky. Her paper body lies in fragments, empty inside, no rotting corpse as you had feared. You recall the wooden corpse's words. Warner's resentment became a corpse fiend. Perhaps Chen Wan's body had long rotted away, and what animated the paper bride was nothing but 40 years of relentless hatred, and your blood, mixed with the gown, had accidentally awakened some lingering power, maybe the Chen family's Buddhist rites, or the phoenix embroidery's auspicious blessing, which, in the final moment, struck back, saving Nanan. Cradling Nanan, you give one last look at the graveyard that devoured countless lives and ended a 40-year curse. The old locust tree stands silently, beneath it only a heap of ashes and a tattered silk robe. The ghostly lanterns are gone, turned to white paper dust. The faint morning light finally breaks through the heavy clouds, spilling a few meager, pale rays. You carry your sleeping daughter step by step, treading through dew and dead grass, leaving the graveyard of secrets and terror behind. Back in the city, the familiar smell of life greets you, the steam from breakfast stalls, the cries of street vendors, the footsteps of early shoppers, all brimming with vitality. Holding Nanan, you walk through the gradually lively streets toward your shabby paper craft shop. The sunlight finally breaks free from the clouds, warm and golden on you and your daughter. In your arms, Nanan stirs. Her long lashes flutter, and she slowly opens her eyes. Those eyes, once dim and gray with sickness, are now clear and bright, though still weak from illness. She glances around in confusion, then tilts her small face toward you. "Dad, is it morning already? I had such a long, long dream." Her voice is soft and drowsy. You stop walking and look down at her innocent face. Sunlight dances on her soft hair. Your throat tightens as you hug her tighter, as if holding the rarest treasure in the world. "Yes," you whisper, voice hoarse, heavy with exhaustion but overflowing with tenderness. Morning has come. The nightmare is over. The sunlight drives away every lingering shadow of last night. You lift your gaze to the shop sign under your eaves. Paper Jung. The three characters still carry the dark aura of the trade, a shadow that clings like a ghost. You know, some things, once stained on your soul, can never be fully washed away. The green lanterns, the stiff paper men, the rotting wood corpse, the blazing golden phoenix, the torn red bridal gown, all of it is burned into you as an unshakable nightmare. But you also know this: the real, warm, breathing little life in your arms matters more than anything. You hold Nanan close. Take a deep breath of sunlit air mixed with the scent of the living city, and step firmly over the low threshold of your shop. A new day has begun.